Hello and welcome to Go Pound Salt's Cooking with Saltware. In this brief video short, we're going to show you scallops, asparagus, and mandarin oranges. This evening we've opted to begin with the asparagus first. Typically when you cook asparagus you use a little bit of oil. It causes the asparagus to be more slimy, and so rather than using any oil at all, we've piled the asparagus up on the block and we're just going to let it cook for a few minutes. We'll turn it over a couple of times. Should be perfectly cooked, lightly salted, and ready for the scallops, the next portion of the meal. Total elapsed cooking time to this point is about 6 minutes. As you can see, the asparagus are already starting to get a little brown on the tips, starting to cook really well, getting very dark green. Indicates that they're pretty close to finished cooking. So I like to actually finish most of my veggies on the grill with just a little bit of 80 or 100 proof alcohol. In this case we're going to use just a little bit of vodka. We're going to splash it onto the block. We're going to allow the vodka to dissolve just a slight amount of the salt off of the block, and then carry that salt with the alcohol vapors that quickly evaporate and flash steam the asparagus to finish it, and then we'll go ahead and pull it off the grill. We do recommend extreme caution when doing this because you do have highly volatile alcohol along with an open flame. You can hear it sizzling, you can see it steaming. You see a little bit of the salt that was dissolved coming out along the edge here. So that tells us that we did what we wanted to do. So now as we get ready to cook our scallops, scallops are a protein that give off quite a bit of moisture. Whenever you cook anything that gives off a lot of moisture with the salt block, we actually recommend that you create a light barrier between the food being cooked and the salt block itself, so not too much salt is dissolved off. In this case this evening, based upon the meal and the flavor profile that we've put together, we're going to lightly brush the block with just a little bit of sesame oil. You can see that it goes on very quickly. It spreads very evenly across the entire block. I'll put just a little bit more on because we want to make sure that the scallops don't wash that away. You can do this with your block over and over and over again. You can see it's very hot. We'll go ahead and grab the scallops and we'll begin cooking. So you can see we still have a nice sheen there from the sesame oil. As we begin dropping our scallops, we'll tell you about the marinade that we used for them. A little bit of mirin, some sake, some sesame oil, some soy sauce. We also used some crushed red pepper, some fresh grated ginger, a little bit of sweet onion sugar from our Sugarlicious line of sugars to provide a little bit of sweet and savory, and the juice of one mandarin orange. So you can see those are bubbling up nicely on the bottom. These are going to cook fairly quickly, so that's why we want to get them dropped without taking a lot of time. See, these are nice sized scallops. These are U10s. The thing with scallops, you want to make sure when you pick scallops up at the store that they have that nice, sweet, fresh smell. If they do not smell sweet to you, do not buy them. They're not fresh and they are not worth the money. So you can see our scallops are cooking nicely. The thing about cooking scallops is this: you only want to turn them once. So you want to pick the ones that are cooked about a quarter to a third of the way up. You want a nice sear, a nice crust on each side. You can see the things that have the moisture, the juice that has come off. You've got this bubbling action going on. It's primarily a little bit of oil with the enzymes from the protein itself. So we're going to pick a couple in the middle here that look like they're probably going to be just starting to cook, and as you can see, not quite getting the crust we want yet because we've got too much moisture on it. So we're going to let those sit for just a bit and turn those back over. So we've flipped our scallops over. You can see some of them have a very nice sear, very nice crust on them. Very, very tender. They're actually falling apart as we turn them over. Probably put a few more scallops on the block than we should have, so make a note of that if you want to try this at home. You don't want this much standing moisture to be on the block because it slows down the process of creating that crust, giving you that little bit of crispiness that you really like to have on a scallop. So We'll try to push a little bit of the moisture off and see if we can't help speed the process along a little bit. Again, if you're doing this at home, please be careful. So our scallops have finished cooking. We'll show you the final product plated up in just a moment, but I can assure you they are absolutely delicious. So final process tonight is to actually grill some mandarin oranges. They're going to be fairly moist as well, but we want a little bit of the sweetness from the mandarin orange juice, and we're going to use the juice from the oranges like we do everything else. High moisture content following behind the protein to actually absorb and pick up some of the delicious enzymatic goodness that comes from cooking protein on the salt block. So it looks like our mandarin oranges are done. We're going to go ahead and pull those off the salt block. We're going to take them inside. We're going to plate them up with our scallops, our asparagus, and we've also made up a little bit of forbidden black rice and some long grain basmati rice together. You'll see that in the final product plated up. And we thank you for joining us this evening, and we tell you, as always, when you join us here at Go Pound Salt, happiness is just a lick away.